Hello, joyful moms. It's me, Joy, and welcome to Joyful Mom Days. Today we're going to talk about the joy of being a mom because we are moms. At least I think you're moms, and if you're not, you're welcome to watch anyway and enjoy our talk about moms. But for all you moms out there, we are going to talk about being a mom and the joy it brings you. It's very easy to lose perspective on how much happiness that being a mother can bring you, especially when you have kids screaming, you're running back and forth from one place to another, when you're scrubbing those dirty dishes, and you have lots of sleepless nights. Sometimes we forget just what brought us here. Let's face it, being a mom is hard work. It's one of the hardest things you will ever do in your life. When you're going through those hard times, we sometimes forget just about what brought us here to begin with. And we lose that perspective. And then you'll have a moment in the midst of all of that brings you right back to what makes this the most wonderful thing in the world. There's a quote that I absolutely love, and I'm gonna share it with you right now. Having children puts the whole world into perspective. Everything else just disappears. And that comes from Kate Winslet. And it's the absolute truth. Having children does put the whole world into perspective. It makes your whole world have meaning. They define who you are. They are the best of you. Being a mom makes everything worthwhile. It makes every stretch mark, every wrinkle, every gray hair, every single sleepless night worthwhile. And the reason that is because we are raising your legacy. Your children are your legacy that you're gonna leave behind when you're gone. And that makes everything that you do so important. Your children are your imprint on this world. So today, it's about reminding you and reminding me, because I need that reminding sometimes too, about why being a mom is the most joyful thing you can do. So let's talk about those joys. Let's go back to those first moments and all those feelings that wash through your whole being. The feelings of joy and happiness, and yet all that responsibility. I know for myself that first moment I laid eyes on my first child, it was like a whole bunch of everything, like every feeling in the world wrapped into one, flowing through your being, like to your soul, and all the responsibility that entailed. And every emotion that you could feel, you felt. The joy, the happiness, the fear, the anxiety, everything, because that's what being a parent is. It's all those emotions all wrapped into one, and you have all these emotions going through you at one time, all the time. And that is a huge thing to take on for anyone. But for us as a parent, it's not only ourselves we have to worry about now, it's our children. And that is something that can only be experienced once you go through that and you become a parent. That moment was the moment you first realized how important your job really was. To raise another human being, to empower them to thrive is a gift. It's one of the most important gifts that you will ever be given. And you were given that gift because you are the right person for that child. There is a reason you were chosen to be that child's parent, and only you can do the job the way it needs to be done. You are exactly what your child needs to become who they were meant to be. And that right there is a beautiful thing. So the next time that you are cleaning up a wet bed at 3 a.m, or you're cleaning up the sickness off the floor, just realize that this is only one moment in time, and that you're going to get through this. Yes, we all go through times like that that have us just unable to deal with things. Sometimes it's just like that. You just feel like you're going to explode or you want to run away, but that's okay. We all go through that. That's just one moment, but the other moments are what makes those moments worth your time. I know right now we're going through a time like that. We have a birthday coming up and we have some kids sick in the house, and we all have our own things we're going through too. And those times are the times when you're just like, can I get through this? but yes, you can. And let me tell you, I've been doing this for like almost 18 years now. And if I can do this, you can do this. There's nothing like rolling over in the morning after a really rough night that you've just spent up with your children with runny noses or upset tummies or whatever it was, and you roll over next to the child that's just been kicking you all night long, and they open their eyes and they're peeking at you with those cute little eyes, and the first thing that you hear in the morning is, "I love you." And you know, moments like that right there are what make everything that you're doing so important, because you are showing that child perseverance and how to stick through this and how to do what you need to do. And most of all, you do it with love. And even those times that are hard and they're fighting with you and they're telling you they hate you, you stick through it and you still love them. That's what being a parent is. And that's what raising them to be empowered to thrive does. And that's why you are important. Those 3 simple words you hear, those words are what make everything that you do so worthwhile. Other people can love your children too, but not in the way that you do so fiercely as a parent. That is something sacred and empowering. There's a reason that people refer to mothers as lionesses, because you love those children so fiercely and you will fight for them in a way that no one else will. And that's why you have been given this gift, because you can do that. Being a mother is so much more than giving birth to a child. As mothers, we are teachers, we are givers, we are that shoulder to cry on in a harsh world. We are our children's comfort zone. We are the fertilizer that nurtures our children so they can bloom into thriving individuals. And all of this makes us into superheroes. We are superheroes to our children. And there is nothing more important in this world than being a parent. And not only a parent, a good parent. None of us ever know if we're doing this parenting thing right. We always question what we're doing. We always try to make the best decisions for our children, and none of us ever know if we're on the right path. That is what makes us good parents, questioning that. No matter what type of parent you are, if you're questioning what you're doing, you're on the right track. We all try to do what's best for our children. We all have different ways of doing that. But doing that, trying to do what's best for them, is what makes you a good parent. We each make the best decisions for us and our families. Those decisions look different for everyone. I mean, we choose to homeschool because that's what's best for our family. For you, that might not be what's best. You might need to be working 2 jobs and your kids might need to be in school. You might not have the time for that. That is what makes you a good parent, because you made that decision. The best decision for your family is whatever that is for your family. Whatever works for your family makes that the right decision. Each family is different, each dynamic is different, and each time we make the best decision for our families, we sit back and we hope for the best, because there's no way of knowing if what you're doing is the right decision until years later. Most of the time. I mean, there are some instances where you know right away, but most of the time we are not going to find out until our kids are grown and to see how they have grown into adults. And that's what makes this difficult, but that's also what makes this so important. I know I am always questioning myself. Every decision we make comes with a lot of fear and anxiety, because you always wonder if you should have chosen the other path. That goes from little things to big things. I mean, choosing to homeschool was a big thing for us, and I still to this day question that choice. I question it for each child, let alone the whole family. Kayla is in college now. She started early in the Jumpstart program and she's doing really well, so I'm glad that we've gotten her to that point. But I still question it for each child as we go, and wondering if this child is too sociable, should they be in school? But then I question whether that would actually be the best, because will they learn to their full capability if they are in that environment? Every one of these things, every decision we make has consequences to our children and their well-being and who they become. And that makes it a huge responsibility. I mean, I question things sometimes, like if I should actually give them that cookie at night, Is it too much sugar? Did I give them too much sugar today? Each of these things, the small ones to the big ones, they all have an impact on how your child develops. And therefore it's important. But you making those decisions makes all the results and the good things and the happiness that comes with them, makes them your reward, your trophy. Yes, we celebrate those rewards, often silently, because we praise our children for becoming who they are, because that is on them. No matter what you do, they still have choices and they still choose to be who they are. All that we can do is lead them to that. That reward is your child becoming who they are. So you're not going to see it in the way that you'll see winning an award for running that marathon or something like that. The reward to you is your child's happiness and your child's ability to become independent individuals. That is the reward to us as parents. That is different than any other type of reward. It's not the kind of reward you can celebrate in the same way. You're celebrating your child and their accomplishments, so you celebrate them. It's not a celebration for you, but that child is your celebration in and of themselves. But the thing is, every time we question ourselves, we are being good parents. We are choosing a path that, even if it's the right choice, it can be the difficult choice. It can be the one that is the hardest for you to do. That choice, the fact that you are choosing that person over yourself, loving someone so much that you sacrifice your happiness for theirs, that can bring joy to us in a way that's different. It is a joyful thing, but sometimes it's a hard thing for us to swallow. Mothers who stay home instead of going to work, or mothers who go to work instead of staying home, either way, that is a sacrifice that we make, that we have to make. Even fathers doing that, going to work instead of staying home, or the ones that stay home instead of going to work. These are sacrifices that we make. We make these sacrifices in silence, and the world doesn't often see them, but that makes you a superhero, and it brings joy to us in a way that it can sometimes at the same time bring sadness. But the joy in knowing that we are putting our children first, that is a joy. A different kind of joy that blooms in a way that we might not see for years to come, but it is a joy. It's a joy that we're willing to sit back and wait on, to watch as it blooms slowly, like that flower that only blooms once a decade, that takes you time and effort to cultivate, that you're working on for years before you get to see that one single bloom. That's how we do as parents, watching our children grow. That worry that we are going to screw up, and yes, we are going to screw up sometimes. We as parents do screw up. Even the most loving parents screw up. We are not perfect. No one is perfect, so we will have those moments where we screw up. That doesn't mean that's the end all. And the fact that you're worrying about screwing up shows that you are a good parent. If you are worrying over that, you will pick yourself back up even if you screw up, and you will put yourself back on the right tracks again, no matter how hard you have to work at that. Because sometimes we have to go through a lot of you-know-what before we can get there. And we work ourselves hard, and we do it no matter what, because that is what is important to us, to get our kids and our family on the right track. You will put yourselves and your loved ones back on the right track if you're willing to make those sacrifices and work hard through whatever you need to do, because that's what being a mother is. If I can do this, you can do this. And yes, it gets harder as they get older. I'm not gonna lie. Those storms, they get a little bit more frequent and a little bit harder to get through, but the rewards are all the sweeter. You've got this, mama. You can do this. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I helped you to remember the joy that can be found in parenting. The road is rough sometimes, but the joy is there, and that is what makes everything worthwhile. Until next time, goodbye, joyful moms.